storm surge is very significant. We're actually seeing cars and boats float down the street.
This morning, Ian is now a tropical storm after leaving a path of destruction in Florida. The sheriff in Lee County is reporting fatalities, but no specific number. We do know one man in Deltona died when he went outside during the storm to drain his pool. Thanks for being here at 6 a.m. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Netta Iranpour. Ian came ashore with wind speeds high enough to make it the 5th strongest hurricane ever to hit our country. We have team coverage for you. Evan and Chris tracking Ian and its impact. We're going to start, though, with CBS News correspondent Christian Benavides. He is live in Orlando with the very latest.
Good morning. I'm in Orlando, where we are still seeing some of the effects of now tropical storm Ian as it is now making its way out into the Atlantic, where it could strengthen once again. Now, the concern here in Orlando and the central Florida area is the concern for the potential of historic flooding. Jacob! Some Good Samaritans in Bonita Springs, Florida jumped into action, rescuing an elderly man trapped in his car in rising floodwaters. Scenes like these somewhat common as Ian roared into southwest Florida with a vengeance as one of the most powerful storms ever to hit the U.S. This morning, Ian is still churning its way across the state after making landfall yesterday as a Category 4 hurricane with 150-mile-per-hour winds. The streets and the sea became one and the same across the region, like in this neighborhood near Naples.
It's been that surge that has been the biggest issue and the flooding that has resulted as a result of that. In some areas, we think it's hit 12 feet.
This woman from Kissimmee says she was afraid she might drown inside her home.
The water was so deep, I had to swim in order to get to safe ground here.
You had to swim?
Swim from the house to halfway down the street to get to Napa.
In Tampa, strong gusts sent this traffic light crashing to the ground. Even though the storm has weakened, the danger certainly has not passed. The National Weather Service warning as the storm moves north and east, there's the potential for significant to catastrophic flooding in areas like here in Orlando. The Orlando airport began canceling all flights yesterday until further notice, stranding some passengers.
Now we're just gonna kind of hang out until Friday.
Nearly 100 search and rescue crews from South Florida are on their way to the hard-hit West Coast, bringing with them rescue dogs to help locate any missing or lost family members. So again, Florida not the only state in the crosshairs of this storm. The governors of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia have all declared states of emergencies as this storm now heads out into the Atlantic, where again it could strengthen before heading up there. Live in Orlando, I'm Christian Benavides. Back to you.
Yeah, so now another part of the state impacted, and then other states included. Let's send it over to Evan now. You're tracking Ian.
Yeah, good morning to you. Now a tropical storm, as you heard Christian say. Winds are now at 65 miles per hour. Doesn't seem like these winds will strengthen all that much, but they will likely sustain themselves as this storm heads over the Atlantic and then curves out and makes landfall again over the Carolinas. So again, moving northeast right now, you can still kind of make out the eye of the storm. Orlando is right now in about the worst part of the storm right now. However, those winds have calmed down. Storm surge not as high for the eastern side of Florida. However, the western side, Governor Ron DeSantis has said that he believes that there are some spots that are under 12 feet of water because of that storm surge. So we'll see this storm curve off the Atlantic for about 24 hours, make landfall again over Charleston as a tropical storm, break apart just farther north of that into the rest of the Carolinas. And it looks like beyond that we'll, of course, be monitoring the response to this as it's only been about an hour and a half since we've seen sunrise over Florida. And that means that now we are just getting those new pictures and videos of how this storm developed overnight. Back to you two.
Evan, thank you. And this is a story that hits home for a lot of San Diegans with family in Florida.
And one of them is our very own Chris Groh joining us here with that part of the story. Good morning to you, Chris.
Yeah, good morning, Eric and Netta. And look, with Ian making its way still through the state of Florida, we're not out of the woods just yet. It's above Central Florida. I've got two family members that are there. I've got family that also has property in the southwest portion of the state. And again, scenes like this, when we want to show you this again, just really paints the picture of the issue, the floodwaters, the damage that we are seeing. Again, this is Bonita Springs, people jumping into the floodwaters to save an older man there trapped in his car. And again, you can understand how Ian is one of the strongest storms to hit the U.S. And what happens now after the storm, once it does make its way through Florida and we are able to safely get out there, my family, other families, they're going to be trying to assess the damage, trying to check in on people, see exactly what's going on. Take a look at what just happened. This is something that thankfully my family didn't have to go through. This was in Kissimmee, where a man had to actually save his grandmother from her flooding home, where again, right now it's a tropical storm over Central Florida, but that still doesn't mean it's not dangerous.
Yes, I was able to get back there. She was able to call 911. Unfortunately, they said they couldn't help her. They couldn't send no one, dispatch to come out here pretty much to help her until like in the morning to further notice. That's why I was like, you know what, let me just get it. I know they said it was a curfew and whatnot, but that didn't, stand me behind, honestly. Okay. It's a family member.
Now, look, there's a lot of damage in areas like Southwest Florida. We know that there are portions of Fort Myers that are legitimately underwater, but specifically some of the islands there off the southwest coast of Florida, like Pine Island, we really won't know the damage until we start hearing from the people that are there, or, for instance, like my family, until they're able to get there. This is in Matlacha. This is a road that leads on to Pine Island. This was posted on Facebook by a Pine Island Facebook group, again, showing how the road completely destroyed. And if you're thinking, okay, it's an island, people can just take their boats to get there. That's what people in Florida do a lot. Well, right now authorities are saying that the waters are too dangerous to navigate to get that, to get onto that island and the other chain of islands that are there. My family, they have property there. My parents, they have a boat there. Likely, again, we're assuming the worst right now. I think that's what a lot of people are going through. Thankfully, though, again, as far as my family that's in South Florida, in Broward County, you saw the storm there still hitting hard. Everybody is safe right now, and we do hope that everybody that's here that has family there, again, having a similar experience. But again, I know that we're all kind of holding our breath right now for Florida.
Right, hoping to hear back from people. Thank you so much, Chris, for that. Yeah. And now turning to some other local news here. A Navy sailor accused of starting the fire that destroyed the billion-dollar USS Bonhomme Richard will be back in court.
Now, this is a local story that has made international headlines, and CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol is live outside Naval Base San Diego with everything that's going to be happening here today. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Eric and Etta. We know that the defense has rested its case and closing arguments start today. Now, we know that Seaman Ryan Mays will not be testifying. Now, the judge asked if this was his decision. He replied yes. Now, taking a look at what we can expect moving forward, the prosecution gave its rebuttal yesterday. It was their chance to refute some of the testimony from the defense's witness, including their fire expert, who you heard there in that courtroom saying that there might be some potential causes to this fire, such as batteries. Now, after prosecution called to the stand an electrical engineer, there was a long discussion about why, in his opinion, batteries were not the cause of the fire. We also saw a series of videos in the court taken from a San Diego fire captain's helmet the day the fire broke out. Captain Jack Middleton testified. He was one of the first civilian crews on scene who went down into the lower vehicle storage area to try and fight the fire. There was a lot of talk about scaffolding being down there, dumpsters as well. A lot of stuff in the way as he tried to get to where that fire started. Now, today, prosecutors will likely hammer home the fact that they have an eyewitness who says he saw Mays go into the storage area where the fire started. They will also continue to stress their experts, including a special agent with the AFT that determined the cause was arson. Now, 21-year-old Seaman Ryan Mays could spend the rest of his life behind bars if found guilty of $1 billion worth of destruction on the Bonhomme Richard. Of course, we've been covering this case from the very beginning. We'll be in the courtroom again, bringing you the latest. I'm Dana Marie McNichol, coming to you live from Naval Base San Diego.
Dana Marie, thank you. Another overnight spike in gas prices. Ooh. San Diego's average price increased 16 cents overnight. It's now $6.20 for a regular gallon of gas. Yesterday, President Biden warned oil and gas companies not to use Hurricane Ian as another excuse to raise prices.
We thought yesterday was high. We thought the day before
Wow.
that was high, but now 620. Okay, let's hope for some better numbers, at least in our forecast.
Yeah,
Evan.
we are seeing actually a dip in the temperatures as opposed to a rise in them. This afternoon, we should be seeing temperatures drop by about 5 degrees compared to yesterday afternoon. And it looks like as we continue throughout the rest of the week into the weekend, we'll be back around average, if not cooler than average, meaning much more fall-like weather in the forecast as we get into the weekend. As we kick off our Thursday morning, however, we are back to limited visibility along the coastline. Fog and low clouds are affecting that morning commute and how well you're able to just see out the window. You've got Oceanside at about 1.5 miles, Carlsbad, Miramar, all the way down through about Coronado. We are at less than 1 mile of visibility. We are at 1 mile in San Diego. Inland valleys aren't struggling quite as much, but you can see this is still affecting a pretty good portion of your at least western valleys to start off the day. By the afternoon, we're going to have clearing take place. We'll have a lot of sunshine in our forecast by that time frame, and it looks like temperatures are going to be warming up to the above average range this afternoon, but it will not be as hot as yesterday. So a heat advisory, excessive heat warning have both expired for us. We have no longer any watches, warnings, or advisories to start off your day, and it looks like by the afternoon we'll be pretty comfortable. Upper 70s along the coast, upper 80s for your inland valleys. 82 is about the forecast high for your mountains, and it looks like we'll still see partial cloud cover by the afternoon, but fewer clouds compared to, say, the last 24 hours, where we did even see some showers and thunderstorms over the mountaintops. That was yesterday afternoon for Campo, for Palomar Mountain, and then, of course, for the mountains across Riverside and San Bernardino County. We, however, did not pick up on the brunt of it. Saw maybe 1/2 inch or so at Palomar Mountain, 1/4 inch at Campo. Still notable. However, most other spots on the map remain dry as we went into the day yesterday. Look at that cooling of temperatures all the way through the weekend. Going into Monday of next week, we may see temperatures climb by a degree or two. It's not going to be all that significant. It will likely bring us back to about average, so enjoy the more fall-like weekend that we'll have on hand. As far as traffic goes, as we kick off your Thursday morning, things have been pretty quiet on the roads. You can see what crashes look like as we start off the day. Almost nothing on the screen, but it does look like we just saw a crash pop up here, so let's jump in and see what's going on up in the appears to be Escondido area. So first off, we will zoom in particular to that spot on the map, and then we'll check on what specifically it is. We've got 2 lanes blocked there with a crash on the 15 southbound. This is at 9th Avenue in Escondido, so again, already causing some of those delays in the area. You can expect those just on the 15 southbound in the Escondido region. So we'll keep you up to date, check in with CHP, see what's going on around there. Ned and Eric, back to you.